You close to Monique.
Yes.
I've had Monique on it, and Monique is brother there, sister there.
Yes.
She's very motherly. She's
Yes.
very nurturing.
Yes.
And she knows she's not everybody's flavor. She's not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I think she has some great advice. I think people have done her wrong, and when she called people out, they have a problem with that.
Yes.
What is it about Monique that caused you to gravitate towards Monique?
You know what? It was Monique showed me things about this business before I even got the opportunity to see them. Right? And, you know, we would get on the phone, we would talk. She would give me advice. She would come to shows, you know, at little small comedy clubs that, you know, we would be doing and support. And she would always have some feedback on what she thought. I think, you know, some of the stuff that she went through was unfortunate, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, speaking up
For yourself.
ain't never been nothing wrong. And, you know, she always kept it real though. She always she'll say this, no matter how she felt about whoever she felt about, she would say, listen, if Oprah called, you better go. Regardless of how I feel about her,
Right.
you better go because my fight ain't your fight.
I like that.
And, you know what I'm saying? You know, I did the Miss Governor show that was directed and produced by Tyler Perry. And when I did that, regardless of how she felt about TP, she called me. She was like, hey, you know how I feel, but congratulations. I'm about to watch the show right now. Wow. So, you know, she just one of those people that's like, hey, my beef is my beef, whether you love me or not. You know what I'm saying? If people get on the internet and they get to talking about her, and she always tell her, don't y'all get in the comments again in that. Y'all stay out of that.
Right.
This is my fight. But I'm just trying to show y'all how to speak up. You know, have your own voice. And she like, if it's something that you don't like, speak up, say something.
Right.
So, no, Monique is definitely, like, I mean, we just was texting the other day. And the first thing she texts, baby, how does fame feel? And I'm like, auntie, you know, I'm adjusting, I'm getting used to it. But she like, well, you already know. If you want to talk, you got some questions, call me, I'm here for you. So she always been like that for me. I can't talk about everybody else's experience, but I know to me, she's always been welcoming. I've been on movie sets and watching her film movies. I've been to shows. I went to her Netflix special when she shot it. So, you know what I'm saying? She's always been, you know, a sweet person to me. And she just, you know, she just one of them ones that she don't play.
When did you realize that you wanted to do comedy?
In fifth grade.
Fifth grade.
When I saw that Bernie
When you
Mac.
saw Bernie Mac, you
When
said,
I saw
okay,
Bernie Mac.
this is what I want to do.
No, you know what? I ain't gonna say that was the exact moment. But you know, my brother and his wife, they used to always have me come over to the house, and I was promoting parties at first.
Okay.
So I used to throw these
Party promoter, huh?
Man, them were the days. I was getting ripped off by them club owners, but man, we used to throw parties, man, and you know, after the parties, there always be something, and I would go to my brother's house, and I'd be talking to him and his wife, and I'm telling them, you know, what happened at the party, and they'd be cracking up, laughing. They'd be like, man, you need to do comedy. And I'm like stand up? They like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know if I could do that.
Right.
So, my sister passed away in 2013.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and before she passed, I remember they had gave her she was on hospice. They gave her 2 days to live. And my sister smoked weed, and she smoked weed to the last day she was here. I remember I went to go see her, man. She was in a bathtub, taking a bath. That was the only thing used to make her feel better was her weed and her bathtub. And she had cancer all throughout her body. And I remember she was in the bathtub and she had a blunt, and she was in and out, and the blunt had fell in the tub. And I walked in the bathroom, and I reached in the tub, and I grabbed her blunt, and she woke up and she looked at me, and she was like, you think? She was like, brother. I said, what? She's like, you think I'm gonna die? And it was in that moment, when I'm looking at her, and I'm like, no. I'm like, you gonna be all right?
Right.
And she was like, no. She was like, but promise me this. Promise me that you gonna do something. And I remember that. I remember tried to hand her a blunt. She wasn't strong enough to lift her hand up. She said, just put it in my mouth. And I put the blunt in her mouth, and I walked out, and I remember I went and sat on the front porch of the building that that she was living in. My parents owned the building in Chicago that she was having her hospice care there. And I sat on the porch, and I had to, I kept replaying the conversation, like, you just got to do something. And she passed away the next day. And 4 months later, I had started doing comedy, and I never.
And that was your younger sister?
No, that was my older sister. So she was 32 years old at the time.
Damn.
And I mean, Shannon, she was a warrior. My sister had been shot. You know what I'm saying? She had been shot several times, a few times she had been shot. And she had cancer. She had cancer for so long, like we didn't even.
Right.
We didn't, like, she was.
She come on and tell you, she go, well, yeah,
I'm
they told me I
good.
got cancer. You like, oh, you've been dealing with it.
You've been dealing with it. You
all
good.
right.
You good. My brother used to take her to appointments, and, you know, what ended up happening was the cancer they had got control of it. And she was in this abusive relationship with this guy, and the dude shot her. And when she went to the hospital they had to do like an emergency surgery on her. And when they cut her open to do it, you know, when that air hit the cancer, it spread. Wow. So trying to save her life from that so she wouldn't have to use the bathroom through a bag for the rest of her life, she ended up having the surgery. And yeah, that was it. Like after that, you know, it went downhill pretty fast, but it was just, that was like the moment there where I was like, I gotta do something.
Right.
And that was it. She was like the last thing to push me over, like, hey, let me go try this.
Do you remember what it was like the first time you got on stage?
Yeah. Yeah. It was 4 people there.
Huh?
It was 4 people there.
Did you know that it was like, was it open mic or something?
No, it was like we had put our own showcase on. It was 4 people there. And it was my mom, my cousins, and it was 2 other people there that I didn't know. And I remember going on stage, and I'm trying to tell these stories, but it wasn't like a real good, you know, body of work for me to go out, you know, for me to go off of, you know, to say like, okay, this is gonna be it. But the night that I bombed, because I ended up bombing maybe a few years later, like once I was really getting into it and my social media followers started going up, I ended up bombing real bad. And they didn't boo me, but it was quiet. And I remember I'm on stage and I got this suit on, and before I went on stage, it was a host and dude from Chicago named Comedian Stick. And he brought me up and he was talking about my suit, said I was dressed like Tevin Campbell, and I mean, he went in on me. And then he goes up, he does his time and brings me up. So I go out there and the suit was tight, like how you be wearing yours. And somebody yelled out like, man, ain't nobody trying to listen to you with that tight ass suit on. And I started clapping back at the crowd.
Right.
And it was like 300 people there, and they dying laughing. And then I went to them jokes that I thought I had, and it was just started getting quiet. And you know, they got this thing when you're on stage, you're doing comedy, when your time is up, they'll flash a light at you.
Right.
And at this time, I didn't know that etiquette. So I'm like, why are they flashing this light at me? And somebody yelled out, that means because it's time for you to get your ass off the stage. And I was so hurt. And I was like, man, take the microphone. So I went and I sat down and I had to listen to every single comedian go up after me talk about how I had just bombed. And I sat there and I watched it, and I remember sitting there and saying, I don't never want to feel like this again. So when I left, I got in the car, the girl I was talking to at the time, this one I knew I really bombed, because as we was driving and I was quiet, and I remember the girl looking over at me, and I look over at her and she was like, you okay? You okay? If you get off stage and somebody asks if you okay, you know what just happened.
Yeah.
And she asked me if I was okay, and I was like, I will be.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party, because you know we like to do something before 2 something.